Welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. I'm Yula, your anxious attachment style coach, CEO of The Marriage Coach. I'll help you to finally stop overthinking your relationship by overcoming your fear of being left by your partner. Thought by thought, action by action, now episode by episode. Why? So you can experience true, authentic, anxiety-free love and feel a lasting ripple effect in all areas of your life. Are you ready to become the best secure version of yourself? Let's go. Welcome back to episode 7, your anxious relationship guide you need to thrive, not just survive the holidays. This is a jam-packed, cozy, warm episode which you can listen to snuggle up underneath your favorite blanket, underneath a tree. You can actually enjoy the holidays for once, or even use this for any other celebration or when you're visiting the family or the in-laws. So wait for the end. I'll share with you a super fun game I found the other day on TikTok. Yes, it's TikTok. I'm not there very often, but this I have to share with you, especially if you're getting triggered a lot by things that your family says to you or that's happening during the Christmas period or during your holidays. So watch out for the end. So no matter if you're a fan of Christmas or it's a huge trigger for you, your relationship anxiety really plays up and you feel stressed and you can't relax and you feel like you need to prepare everything for everyone and you always put yourself last and everyone before you. I hear you. I got you. This episode is one you don't want to miss. Even if you maybe stumble across the episode during Easter, Valentine's Day, or any other day where you feel like you're getting very anxious, especially around other people, having high expectation. And yeah, save this one for later. I promise, no fluff, just straight to the core relationship lessons I've learned as someone who has been anxiously attached for until I was 30 years old, 30 and a bit. And until everything literally fell apart in my relationship, within myself. And yeah, I was kind of lost and went through a hard time. I realized also that I was very hypersensitive, which makes times like holidays, Christmas, going to family gatherings, especially if it's your in-law, especially if it's an Italian family who's very loud, talking on top of each other, and which can be very sensitive for yourself, a lot to handle. Since I've moved here to Italy, we're living very close to my partner's parents, and yes, they're Italian, and every Sunday they have their Sunday lunch, and I've been able to set boundaries. I'm not going there every time, and it's a lovely, lovely family. However, as someone, for example, who's very hypersensitive, it was extremely hard for me at the beginning. And even though I've done so much healing work already, there was a huge different, there was a different experience, a different environment I've never been used to. And I learned really tools to help me that made it easier. And now, a year later, I haven't felt much anxiety around those times anymore. I can actually starting to enjoy the time with this family, which is really the goal, right? You don't want to have this disconnect between you, especially, and your partner's family. And it was always something that was in the way. And yes, I still feel anxious and triggered sometimes and sensitive, but I know how to set boundaries. I know how to stand up for myself, and I know what to do. And this episode is little introduction and what you can do and all the tips. So before I jump in, I just want to tell you, I'm so excited. Literally, it's the 8th of November when I'm recording this episode, and 2 days ago, I think the 6th of November, our Christmas tree had arrived, and we've already decorated the rest of the flat, I think the weekend before, and so I'm super in Christmas mode already. I'm not gonna lie, I've already watched I think 12 cringy Christmas movies on Netflix, not as a everyday thing, but more like when I was working, because I'm working from home, and had to do things where it doesn't need a lot of my attention, where I can just do things on my laptop, edit a few things, and in the background it's kind of playing. So I'm addicted to that. I don't know about you, but I can't get enough of Christmas. And right now I'm watching actually the fireplace show in the background. I have all the blankets around me, this furry fake fur blanket, a Christmas cover. And as someone who's prioritizing comfort over everything, sitting here with my loungewear, with my hot tea, everything feels just just right. And this is exactly the moment I'm really, really enjoying. So this makes me so happy, and I had to share this. Yeah, and this awakens my inner child and brings back all the like memories from my parents were still together, and my grandparents came even around for Christmas, and my granddad was singing like silly songs about my grandmother hanging on the Christmas tree. Makes me very emotional to think about this, and I think that's one of the reasons I'm obsessed with Christmas. Not just because my hope is romantic, and not just because I love comfort and all of that stuff, but also it reminds me of my family, of really, really good memories from my childhood. But if you are someone like who holds onto very special memories and try to protect them and maybe to recreate them, there's also a lot of room for disappointment. So let's jump into like when you're having these high expectations and how they can be really the make or break during those special moments, during the holidays, during traditions, even like birthdays or anything that is special to you. And people who have an anxious attachment style set the bar so high that it creates so much pressure that not just it's impossible for the partner to meet this bar, but also for yourself. It's like you're having these perfectionistic tendencies, but no one is able to reach this. So you'll always be disappointed in the end. And this is kind of how it feels like with my clients a lot of times, because they are very ambitious go-getters. They're very successful in their career. They're often like CEOs, they're lawyers, and they're really focused on work and creating goals and achievements. But then in relationships, that's what is getting in their way as well. So for me, like Christmas is my love language. I need to kind of point this out, like watching Christmas movies, singing Christmas songs, making Christmas cookies, decorating the flat. Wow. I'm going for long walks and watching the city turn into magical winter wonderland, especially with your partner. You want to cuddle them and hold them and be close to them, and seeing kind of the worries like disappear sometimes, at least partly. All of these fantasies about Santa Claus. I don't know, it sounds cringy and weird, but hey, I'm a huge fan still of all of the movies of, was it Elf, The Grinch, Sleepers in Seattle, my absolute favorite movie of all times. I'm really getting cozy and comfy in your loungewear and PJs, putting up fairy lights, smelling cinnamon, having vanilla in the air, and drinking a huge oversized cups of Starbucks and hot chocolate, and all of the things. Literally, that makes me so happy. And you can tell I'm obsessed, right? So for relationships, for hopeless romantic, it means wanting to spend all the time or as much time as possible cuddling up with my loved one, with my partner, sharing all of these memories, creating new memories, baking my favorite cookies together with him, or making him happy, showing him the fat once it's prepared, giving him the cookies, and just snuggling up, continuing old traditions, creating new ones. But all of the things I just listed, is exactly where our fantasy and high expectations of the holidays can create problems. So they can be the thing that kicks off our relationship anxiety and makes us spiral and ruminate and create conflicts when everything is not as perfect as you had in mind. So what if you're having all of these amazing expectations of how Christmas should be, how the festive periods should be, or perhaps for you it's going to be like Thanksgiving or Easter or Valentine's Day. And then you start arguing, and then your partner changes his mind and wants to play PlayStation instead, decorating the tree with you or going with you on a cozy romantic walk through the city. Or he doesn't want to take pictures with you anymore and capture this perfect moment. Like, this can literally be the end of everything for someone who is very anxiously attached, who has high expectations, and who has all of these hopes attached to these festivities. Now everything might feel ruined and you spiral. You might start thinking, now this moment is ruined. What if his lack of commitment to the thing means he doesn't care about me anymore and he's not committed about us? What if this means we are not on the same page and you're making this mean the worst case things? You jump into the worst case conclusions. You're only seeing things in black and white, and that's so normal if you have an anxious attachment style. So let me challenge those thoughts for a second, because learning to challenge your own thoughts is such a powerful tool if you want to learn to become securely attached. The reason anxious attachers have high expectations is often as a protective measure. You build up all of these high expectations because you're trying to protect yourself from feeling abandoned, because your brain thinks if you're being abandoned, that means death, subconsciously. But guess what? This method sabotages your relationships and yourself. When you have an anxious attachment style, it's building up a wall of perfect scenarios, a dream world to keep the pain of abandonment away. You think that if you can create the most romantic, ideal, picture-perfect moment, you can control the outcome. If everything goes exactly according to plan, then perhaps there's a less chance of getting hurt. I've developed my own strategies to go deeper through journaling, becoming conscious aware of my patterns, through learning about attachment theory, and that helped me a lot to understand myself more. And you probably want to feel special, seen, and loved, and sometimes the only way you think you can guarantee that is by raising the bar higher and higher and higher for yourself and for others. And you might think, if I set my standards super high, let's see if my partner can still meet that, right? Let's see if my partner is still there for me if I push the bar higher, want him to do this and that. Let's see if you can see that this is not going to work. Because if I find out now that he's not committed and he can't keep up, then I'm going to prevent the hurt in like 5 years or 10 years. And of course, these are more subconscious thoughts that are not happening out loud for you. So listening into your thoughts, what you're thinking every day, writing them down, becoming curious, a curious listener to your own brain, is such a good way to really get to know yourself more and to realize, hey, this is how I sabotage. Do I want to keep holding on to this thought or not? And probably you want to test and see, hey, if he's really going to be there for you in bad times, because if he's not there right now during those times, then how can I know that he ever will be there when really things turn out to be bad? When something happens to me, when, you're imagining all of these cases, what might happen to you in future, or you're through the situation and see if your partner will still be there for you. So it's kind of like it's a way to keep them at distance. You kind of don't let them in, really. It feels safer to find out now rather than later. Don't know, can you relate to that as well? I realized these are more things we discover about ourselves once we started our transformational journey, once we're deep into our secure attachment journey, once you're able to create all the self-awareness around your core beliefs, about your limiting beliefs, how your subconscious pattern actually work, not just the surface level thoughts. And if you want to become securely attached, by the way, don't miss out the chance to jump on my course when it's launching. It's the first round of a course where you will be able to access the course for reduced amount of price. You can learn to transform your anxious attachment and heal your anxious attachment and become securely attached. I share with you all my secrets, all the strategies in the most effective, fast, efficient way. I share with you how I managed to become securely attached so fast within just 6 months. I share with you like all the strategies and tools, and it's very much about actions, because actions create results. This is not just about passive listening to this course, it's actually doing the action steps. It's very much I'm teaching you a concept and then lots of action steps you can apply. If you're curious and want to jump on a wait list or see if the course is already out by the time this launches, apply Blueprint under any of my Instagram posts and get notified when the course is out, get your discount. And yeah, you will find me under the Instagram name, The Marriage Coach, the.marriage.coach. So how does it look exactly like raising the bar? This can look like planning the perfect holidays where everything has to be flawless, from decorations to the food, to the mood, to the music, to what you're going to wear, to taking the most amazing pictures to really capture this moment. It's like you're creating the ultimate experience to show your partner just how much you care and also to have all of the pictures. I've noticed something about someone who has a relationship anxiety, who has an anxious attachment style. It's very important how others see you as well, and to have all of these pictures of you, even if that moment wasn't even that special. As long as you have a picture of you and your partner being happy, being cozy, it makes you feel secure, makes you feel safe. Like, hey, I know it was a terrible day. We argued 20 times, but look at this cute picture. Because maybe when I look at the picture in 1 year time, in a few months time, maybe in a few days, I won't remember the fights and the worries I had. I only remember that we're such a cute couple. I really notice a lot of people who have actually anxiety and doubt and worry a lot about the relationship. They have their profile picture as the boyfriend and themselves and their family. They have, the couple's pictures everywhere in their flat and as a desktop background. And I used to be the same, to be honest. I had my boyfriend everywhere, my partner, until I actually learned to heal my anxious attachment style and learned to not put my partner on top of everything, to realize, hey, I love my partner, I love love, I love relationships, but I healed my wounds. So then I was able to let go of this belief so much. Just a little note I wanted to share with you. So it's just maybe interesting for you to notice what your tendencies are. So let's go back onto this, creating this experience. So you invest so much in it, maybe emotionally, maybe physically, because you want to be reassured. You want to know that if you give all of yourself to your partner will show up and match that energy, right? That you secretly hope the more you give, the more you will receive. But that's the tricky part. That's not how it exactly works in an anxious, avoidant relationship. Pressure of perfection can make it feel safer to have these high expectations. It feels like a cushion to land on, an emotional plan B, let's say, that says, hey, if I do everything perfectly, then I won't feel abandoned. Then I can feel safe. Then I can relax. And you convince yourself that if your partner can't meet that standard, then something is wrong with them, or something is wrong with you or your relationship. And that's where the wall of protection comes up. You're trying to control the narrative, but this actually sabotaging you and your peace of mind, and it's so bad. And that's why I really have to want to share this with you, point this out, so you can become aware of this pattern and find out for yourself, hey, am I doing this? And how is this not helpful for me? Because you need to realize how it's not helpful. By the way, I've just watched the Martha Stewart documentation on Netflix, and that's like revealing about perfectionism as well. And I think I want to do another whole episode on that, because Martha Stewart showed so many tendencies of this. She's this high achiever, this go-getter, very in her masculine energy, creating this business about everyday living, about cooking. And, she's very controlling, though. She doesn't take any accountability, not just for her past, but like in the interview from Netflix, she's still very detached from her emotions. It's very hard for her to be vulnerable. And I don't think I ever heard her say, oh yeah, I did this wrong. I did a mistake. I shouldn't have spoken to my employees this way. She always sticks to her perfectionistic tendencies, to her high expectations. She always made an excuse to saying, I'm strict, but that's a good thing. That's kind of a huge red flag in my eyes as well. But that's a whole nother thing here. Just do your own healing journey and become self-aware of what you are doing wrong, so that you can then do it right. And it's not about pointing the fingers at you and blaming and shaming yourself. Definitely not. It's a very powerful thing when you can admit to yourself, this is where I can grow. And this is such a big moment. And you don't have to say it to anyone else. So even if you start saying it to yourself, that's a great moment. And also, here's the truth, like your partner is not a mind reader. You're often expecting probably them to understand exactly what you need to feel loved and validated, because I've been there, trust me. But they can't always meet your emotional needs, because it's such a huge void to fulfill, because it's built on a foundation of perfectionism and fear. Fear is always attached to an anxious attachment style. It's like setting the stage for a romantic play. When your partner fails to meet your standard, or when something doesn't go perfectly like you had in mind, like your partner decides to play PlayStation, withdraws, doesn't want to take any pictures, doesn't want to be involved at all, maybe cancels last minute. It feels like your world is crumbling because it challenges the very safety net you have created. I hope it was helpful so far. Let's take a deep breath. You can shake yourself out as well. It's a quick, fast way to reset your nervous system. Like shake yourself off like a dog. And that is literally one way to reset your nervous system in a very quick and easy way. So if you're ready, let's continue for a little bit. So what does it feel like to have this high expectation? It feels like control, right? Like if everything's perfect, nothing can go wrong and you can avoid feeling abandoned. But in reality, high expectations often lead to disappointment. I would love to share like a little story how that looked for me 2 days ago when my partner and I were decorating the Christmas tree. So for me, decorating the Christmas tree is one of the most magical moments of the year. It reminds me of my childhood, as I mentioned already. You know, my mom and my sister decorating the tree, listening to Bing Crosby, and having the most wonderful time. And I wanted to recreate this moment. First of all, a quick hint. I mentioned to my partner already what a special moment this is and how important it is to me beforehand, which is very important. If you share your intentions with your partner before something, why you have this meaning attached to something, it can really make them understand what's important for you. So this is why my partner was also very involved in this, also had fun and wanted to make this moment special, by the way. Anyway, so I had this idea of what was going to look like the day. We wanted to have Bellini, like our favorite drink, and we wanted to get our dog from my partner's parents' home and sing Christmas songs and decorate it and just have the most romantic, perfect moment. But guess what? Of course, it didn't go as planned. Whenever you have planned something perfect, it never goes as planned, right? It's like I think everyone who has had their wedding day knows exactly how high you have your expectation, and then something goes wrong, something else goes wrong. So you have to be kind of flexible. And that's something really hard for someone who has an anxious attachment style, who really wants to control the external to feel safe. So, and by the way, I couldn't find a fresh tree in Italy. So I didn't want to, deal with the hassle of getting one from far away, if there even is one, and getting it very late. I'd like to get my tree as soon as possible, even in November, ideally already. So I ended up getting a fake tree, which was already an adjustment. But in the end, I really loved it, actually. It has like this fake snow, and that was a little lesson for me. This way it turned out differently than expected, but it was still good in the end. So another thing happened. Then the tree arrived early. It wasn't part of the plan, and it felt really thrown off. I had imagined this perfect moment where we had decorated the tree over the weekend, where we really slept in and then had a nice morning together, and then eventually would arrive, and in the afternoon we could decorate it, and with music and everything. But it came early in the middle of the week. When my partner was sick, I was a little bit sick still as well. And it was like, I think 11:30 at midday. So getting a Bellini and getting tipsy is a bit of a weird thing. So I was like, oh my God, it's not going to work out now. And I asked myself, what's the most important thing right now? And I realized that it was having a good time, actually. It wasn't about taking the perfect picture. It wasn't about having everything perfect. It was literally about having a connection with my partner, even if it's just for a few minutes, and having really no stress and no anxiety. What did I do? I chose to just enjoy the moment and let go of all expectations. I was trying to detach my high expectation, the picture I had for the day, from the thing that happened in that moment, to be spontaneous and to be, hey, you know what? My partner asked me if we should just decorate it now. And my past self would have definitely said, no, let's do it the weekend. Let's save it for the weekend. But my new self was like, you know what? Let's try out something else. Let's be more spontaneous and see where this gets us. And in the end, it was still kind of perfect because we made it so. And here's the thing. When you're anxious, you tend to think that if everything was planned perfectly, it will feel secure and safe and homely But guess what? When you focus too much on controlling the situation, you actually create more anxiety. And that's exactly the opposite of what you actually want, right? It's like trying to control the love you want to feel. And I realized something. The best moments are actually the spontaneous ones, the unexpected ones. We had a great time decorating the tree, me running to the shop still and getting the bellini and a little bit of snacks, and bringing over our dog, or my partner's parents' dog, Maya. And it was a really good moment. And we even took some pictures of it. They were not perfect, but it was okay. Don't know if you can relate to that. Sometimes my past life would have taken 500 pictures, 300 videos. Eventually, I would have only shared one of them later. And the rest were just like, okay, pictures. But I really managed over the last years to reduce my amount of pictures, especially with my partner, to be more present in that moment and to be okay with having an okay standard. And guess what? In the end, I was actually trying this time to push for one more picture. I think it was the third picture or something like that we'd taken. And we took a video so I can take later and I can select the picture of that. The thing was, my partner was already like, oh no, that's enough now. And I was like, hey, one more. And that was exactly the moment when you need to realize, hey, when it's getting a little bit too much, slow down and let it go. You don't have to push for a little bit more. Because what happened when the moment I pushed for another picture in the end, my partner wanted to lift up the dog and we wanted to take this video of us while I select later the picture of that moment. What happened? He pulled his back. He's still in pain from it now 2 days later. And that was such an annoying thing. And years ago, I would have completely been annoyed at that. I thought this now ruined everything. First of all, we didn't take any more pictures since that moment happened. Second of all, now the memory is tainted because he hurt himself and all of this. But now I know what was a sign. The next time if my partner shares, hey, let's not take any more pictures, I'm actually going to listen to him. Sometimes it's really good to listen to your partner as well and not just push for another thing and for another thing, to be more present. Yeah, that was kind of my lesson. Can you relate to that as well? Do you have any holiday traditions that you want to have fully perfect with your partner, only to have something go wrong in the end? And I think now everything is ruined. I've been there so many times, and the more you realize, hey, what is my intention here and how can I focus on this one intention? And for me, it's often to have no anxiety, to just connect in that moment. And the key to healing anxious attachment style is really learning to let go of the things you can't control and to accept love as it is, imperfect and spontaneous sometimes. And when I struggled with anxious attachment, I thought that the only way to feel loved and secure was to create the perfect scenario. But now those high expectations weren't protecting me anymore. They were just hiding a deeper insecurity. And the truth is, let me tell you, you are safe already. Let me tell you again, you are safe already. Not when everything's perfect, not when your partner shows up exactly how you want them to, but right now, in your messy, imperfect moments, even when your partner is hurting themselves a little bit, even when the tree arrives too soon, even when you have a little bit of an argument or misunderstanding or miscommunication, it's normal. It's okay. And it's a huge part of the healing journey as well, to let go of control and allow to show up in your own imperfect way. And that's one part what we're focusing on in my Anxious to Secure course as well. Rewiring your subconscious mind and your subconscious beliefs really holding you back, that make you think, I'm only safe when my partner does this for me. I'm only safe when I'm looking perfect, when I lose weight, once we bought the house, once we are married, once my partner reassures me daily. But that's not true. You are safe right now, but consciously telling this to yourself often doesn't help. You have to access your subconscious mind on a subconscious level, and I teach this all in my course. So I want to quickly share with you 5 ways that high expectation actually work against you as a summary. So first of all, it builds unnecessary pressure. It creates unrealistic standards. heightens the chances of disappointment, as we've heard so far, and it makes you feel really like nothing's ever good enough. And the fifth point, it leaves you feeling anxious when things don't go as planned. And that's kind of one of the worst things in my eyes. And then how can you set expectations that actually serve you? For example, lowering the bar, letting go of perfection, focused on being present in the moment, not getting on with everything else, not overthinking, preparing the perfect moment, just being there in that moment. Learn to be flexible as well and listen to your partner's needs and intuition. Stop trying to control everything external, what you can't control. And really also practicing gratitude for what is instead of what could be. And finally, realize you are safe and loved right now, even when everything is just a little bit imperfect, messy, and human. And now I want to share with you a few more tips that can prepare you for the holidays and help you during the holidays as well. This was now all about expectations, lowering the bar, which is a huge, huge part of the holidays. That's why I made such a huge chapter right now. But now I want to just address a few smaller things that are very powerful as well, but in shorter. So boundaries. Let's talk about boundaries. Boundaries are hard for anyone who have an anxious attachment style. I've been there. It took me years to be able to say no thank you or nothing at all, or just figuring out for myself what I wanted as well. That took a while. And it's like we fear saying no or standing up for ourselves because deep down we are scared of being rejected, pushing people away and not being liked. But here's the truth. This is your life. You have a free will. And did you know you don't have to go to your mom's Christmas party or to the family dinner? Did you actually know that? I give you permission to do whatever you want during the holidays. You don't have to do anything you don't need to or want to. You don't need to bring a gift for everyone. You don't have to dress up in fancy clothes if you don't feel like it and if you either want to wear loungewear or your ugly Christmas jumper. You don't have to say you love the Christmas presents. Here's the thing with boundaries. It can really, really feel uncomfortable saying, hey, this is not my thing. I don't want to. I don't feel like it. Setting a boundary for yourself, that's okay. It doesn't have to be easy or the easiest thing in the world. And imagine being uncomfortable 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Every time you set a boundary, every time it gets easier and easier and easier. And the secret in setting a boundary is learning to be okay with being uncomfortable, realizing, hey, this is just an emotion here I'm experiencing. It feels very uncomfortable. I can feel my heart beating. I can feel my chest, I don't know, contracting, is that a word? I can feel myself getting very hot and irritated. It's just an emotion. You can breathe through it. I'll be okay. Even if people won't like what I have to say, it is okay. I'm still loved. I'm still amazing. And that's okay. And here's a little tip. It's important to start really slowly with tiny micro steps. If your in-laws criticize your outfit, let it roll off. Or just say, ouch. Little words like, oh, that doesn't feel nice. You don't have to laugh it off. I used to always, when I didn't like something, I was laughing. It's like this awkward laugh and I didn't know what to do. But realizing when you laugh, you don't show them that this hurt, that this stinks. You can just start with micro moves by learning to not laugh at it when they make fun at you, how you put on weight, or criticizing you about your career choice or coming late. You don't have to laugh and engage and reinforce that. You can at least say nothing. You can just say, hey, I don't like that. That's not okay. Or you can also just say, you know what, please don't say that. You could also just walk away in that moment. That's okay. You don't have to make it a big grand thing where you walk out and storm out. You can simply just move and leave the room for 5 minutes and take a big breath. Setting boundaries is a process that can take a while. And I have an entire boundary toolkit which is specially designed for anyone who is anxious attached and also is hypersensitive, where you can learn to set internal boundaries for yourself. Again, jump over to my Instagram at the marriage coach and reply under any of my posts the word boundary, and you will get this huge free download with lots of examples what boundaries you might want to set based on my own experience and my clients, to really not let people break your self-respect. And as a way of saying, hey, I love you, but that's not okay. I love you, but I need to go right now. I love you, but I'm not gonna able to come to the dinner because I just need to have some time for myself. And then next topic is about hypersensitivity, and I kind of touched on this a little bit already. So if you have an anxious attachment style, hypersensitivity is often a big struggle. At least I noticed that is often combined with a lot of people who have an anxious attachment style. They're also hypersensitive, and that's me also. It feels like everything is amplified during the holidays, especially with like noise and chaos and stress and even like lights. When I used to work in the corporate world and all of these neon lights were everywhere, and then people were loud and then people were screaming and having fun. It was very hard for my nervous system. So that's why I'm also always walking around with noise-cancelling headphones, especially when I was in London, in the trains, in the buses. Everything was so loud. I had to wear them even at work. And here's another example, like, let's say you're at your family meal. Everyone is talking loudly, the kids are screaming and running around, and everyone is talking on top of each other. And instead of spiraling, instead of thinking, no, I don't want to be here, this is too much, getting very hot and very irritated, take very slow, deep breaths throughout the entire dinner. The more you were able to really be conscious of your breathing and breathe really deeply, the more you can tell your nervous system, hey, it's safe to be here. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's okay. And very important, take some time for yourself. Go to the bathroom, even if it's every 15 minutes, even if it's every half an hour. Go to a place outside to get some fresh air, even if it's just 3 or 5 minutes. You don't have to say, hey, I'm going for a cigarette. You can just simply walk out and take your time. This helped me so much when I moved to Italy and seeing my partner's family every weekend. It helped me so much with just coming back to a calm, safe place, even though I knew consciously there was no threat. But when everyone is talking loud and on top of each other, subconsciously that reminds me of conflict, and that is very painful for me, reminding me probably of my parents' divorce and so on. So something, again, you also need to do is physical boundaries, noise cancelling headphones long term, really taking a break, saying no to things, learning to have a space in your home where you feel safe and cozy and warm, away from everyone, closing your eyes, maybe recharging for a few minutes, listening to some breath work and meditation, having your favorite soundtracks prepared that are really soothing you to lower everything down, having dark lights in your house like candle lights or fairy lights instead of the overhead lights that are very uncomfortable, perhaps if you're very sensitive to lights or if you're hypersensitive in general. And let's talk about families and people around the holidays. So it's okay to avoid certain people. Let me tell you, you don't have to see everyone and be around everyone and follow everyone on Instagram and be in the group chats all the time, especially with the people who bring you more stress than joy. You don't have to feel obligated to attend every family gathering. I told you already, and I just want you to hear me. You are not in charge of other people's emotions. You can put yourself first. I know for someone who is anxious attached and very sensitive, you easily put other feelings above yours. But that's in the past from now on. Remember, your peace matters more than pleasing everyone else. Because how can you please others if you're unhappy and they're not your people? Focus on relationships that really nourish yourself, make you feel good. They add to your life. They bring you energy rather than drain your energy. If that means skipping a few evenings or moments, that's okay. And if it's something you absolutely can't get away from, try to still take breaks in between. Don't necessarily sit next to them. Protect your energy. And I also used to force myself to go to every family event years ago when I knew the energy was really draining. But over time, I realized it's not worth it. I love myself too much to be able to do that to myself now. When I had a low self-esteem years ago, I did it because I felt not good enough deep down. And that's how I showed up for myself. But now I wouldn't do that to myself anymore. Now I don't have to prove myself to anyone. I don't have to put other people before me. If I'm not well enough, I can't take care of anyone else either. And especially since 2020, when everything kind of changed, in our society. And the first Christmas, I was forced to spend Christmas alone with my partner in London without anyone, no family from my partner, no family from my family. And first I was like, oh, okay, wow. And that turned out to be one of my most favorite Christmas memories. And I don't really want to admit it, but like having a very low stress, no expectations, no nothing Christmas, just with my partner and myself and our squirrels in London was super, super healthy. It's a game changer that made me change my perspective and the outlook on life and saying, it's your life. You can do whatever you want. And I'm glad that my family is supportive of this as well now, that if I don't want to come for Christmas or something like this to Germany, they are totally okay with it. They know it's important that I do what I want, but I know not every family has this. Another tip that can be a game changer, creating an exit strategy. So having an exit plan is a game changer, especially when family gatherings can be a bit overwhelming. Ask yourself, how long are you planning to stay at the event beforehand? Can you leave early if needed? Are there any quiet spots where you can take a quick break? And even just alone having this prepared might make you feel a lot calmer during the whole event, because if you can leave at any point, if it goes bad, that's also what I'm telling myself before I go there. This can help you so much getting through this. Download like a calming app or like self-soothing audios I have prepared for myself. Save your favorite YouTube videos like Breathe with Sandy. It's super powerful. It's like a breathwork sessions with him. Listening to your favorite music. That can help you breathe through challenging moments. You can also agree with your partner to have like a signal, like an exit signal, which is super powerful. Just as like a little hand sign or showing each other something where you think, what, this is too much now, let's go soon. I think it's also a very cool way to like bond together during a challenging time. And now I promised you the holiday bingo game. It's very, very cool. I've learned this hack from Therapy Christina on TikTok. Check her out. Her handle is @therapy. And I'm going to try this out for sure during this Christmas holidays when I feel anxious. You can also use it for weddings and other social gatherings, you name it. And here's how it goes. So first, you know how bingo works, right? So grab your self like a pen and a paper or a journal and draw out 5x5 like bingo grids. And you should have like 4 lines, 25 squares in total in the end. Fill each square with a common trigger that you don't want to happen during the holidays, something that is very, very common for you. So for example, maybe your mom comments every time how much weight you put on, or maybe she's cooking something that you're allergic to, or someone asks, hey, are you planning to having kids yet? Or maybe someone's asking, why aren't you speaking Italian yet? That's been me, my life here. Every month, every week, someone's asking me how my Italian lessons are going. Once you have written down all the triggers that are happening usually during the holidays, you go to the event, you go to the holiday gathering, and every time when this trigger happens, internally check it off. Like a little tick or like a stamp on the square. You can even do it manually and take out your notes and from your handbag or something like this, take a little peek at it. And one tip, go to the bathroom and check it every now and then, just to take a breather, just to have a little bit of fun. And then feeling triggered left, right, and center, right? when this happens and the row is full, you can literally scream bingo. You can even have a trusted partner who you can tell this to, like either your partner or your sister. You can like tell them about the game and let them in on it, which is even more fun, I think. Yeah. And you can turn it into like a drinking game. You can turn it into anything you want. You can do it with your partner together about common triggers you both experience, and then buy each other some coffee at Starbucks or treat yourself after the bingo, after the stressful bullshit bingo, basically. And why does it work so well? Thing is, by turning your triggers into a game, you create a distance between yourself and what's actually happening around you. You know, you're observing the situation from like a fun and playful angle instead of getting caught up in the emotions. And that puts you more in a position of control and power, and also is more healing for your nervous system, because then you can connect and associate this trigger, this awful thing, with something positive, with something fun. And that's how you actually can heal triggers also in the long run. And every time I think in the future when someone makes these comments that really annoy you, you actually will associate it with a bingo game if this was fun for you, and then you will feel less and less triggered about this. I think it's really a genius idea. And it's similar to like labeling your thoughts. It's also a way of creating distance from the trigger, from the emotion. Just like we're doing in our coaching calls, you realize that other people's words or actions don't have to make you angry. They don't have to make you feel anxious or upset. It's your thoughts that create your emotions. And by just making, a little game out of it, you can literally create a distance to it and you can heal more and more. And I think this is such a great way. And I want to share with you some of my favorite personal triggers, and then also some of the triggers that the people have commented on this TikTok video. So first, some of my triggers saying like, everyone is always asking me, hey, are you still not speaking Italian? Or my brother making fun of my fake tan. My sister asking me if I'm too cold, like every 10 minutes. When people tell me how to run my business and think they know everything better, even though I have no idea from my business, from exactly what I do, and from marketing or sales. And when my partner has to say no every few minutes to his family, when we're trying to not to come to a family event like New Year's Eve family gathering, and we are trying to set a boundary, and his family keeps trying to convince us to go, and we're saying no. And I better not share more triggers, because who knows who's listening to this episode, if it's my family or my partner's family, so I better stop. But here are some other common triggers I've read online. So what are they saying? Family using my chosen name while the rest of my family doesn't. Wrong size clothes being bought for me. Constantly being asked, are you pregnant yet? Sugar-filled treats. By the way, I'm diabetic. My mom insists on giving me baked goods anyway. Why aren't you married yet? Are you having more kids? Granny's commenting on holes in my jeans or tights. Family forcing me to drink alcohol when I stop drinking. Being made to eat meat after I've told everyone I don't eat meat anymore. Being called the wrong name by my father-in-law. By the way, I've been married to their son for 20 years. Solicited comments about my dietary requirements. Mom gossiping about others. When someone asks me for the 100th time about what I'm doing for a living. I would love to hear your personal triggers. I can't wait. Yeah, again, turn into a drinking game or have fun with your partner. And we are already at the end of the episode. I hope it was very helpful. I hope you want to save it. I want to quickly summarize the most 7 key points we've learned from this episode. So, first, control, perfection, and letting go. As an overthinker, you try to control every detail to feel safe. Your partner's actions, your plans, how things unfold. But when things don't go as planned, anxiety takes over. The healing moment comes when you realize it's not about the perfect moment. It's about letting go and accepting that life doesn't have to be perfect to be okay. And you're still safe and you're still lovable and everything is still going to be okay. Number 2, a Christmas tree moment. I remember obsessing over the Christmas tree and then having the perfect moment and recreating my favorite childhood memory. When it arrived early and it didn't go as planned, I panicked. That moment showed me that perfection isn't required for peace and trusting the process, and being a little spontaneous is what truly matters. Plus, also listening to my partner's thoughts and needs and boundaries in that moment also is very important. Number 3, moving from anxious to secure really is about finding peace in imperfection again. Love doesn't need to be controlled, even though you think it's your safety net. It needs trust and boundaries as well. So this shift starts with learning to trust yourself and your partner and the whole process, knowing that I can rely on myself to be there even when things don't turn out as planned. In future and even in little moments like the holidays. My course helps you really build that trust by identifying your triggers and reframing limiting beliefs so you can feel more secure without overthinking every little detail. It really creates safety from within and not trying to control others or your partner or the situation or the holidays and so on and so on. Then number 4, shifting conditional beliefs. You might believe that love is only safe if you can control everything. But the truth is, you're already secure, you're already loved. The key is realizing that you've got the power to rewire your brain and challenge the conditional beliefs you have around safety and love. And it's so important you do that. Reprogramming those beliefs help you to really shift into a more peaceful, insecure mindset and helps you to stop chasing your partner, chasing external things. Number 5, boundary setting. With anxious attachment style, boundaries can feel tough because you're afraid of upsetting others, right? But without boundaries, anxiety just grows. Setting clear boundaries is a game changer, and it gives you emotional space and helps you feel more secure, reducing the need for control as well. By the way, as you already realized, this episode is a lot about control. Number 6, hypersensitivity. If you're hypersensitive, small things like cancelled plans, a lot of lights and noise and miscommunication can really be stressful during the holidays and during family gatherings. But here's the truth. Your emotions are being triggered by your thoughts about the situations, not the situation itself. And if you have a lot of unprocessed emotions, it can make you feel even more anxious, even more triggered. Everything can feel like 20 times worse. So understanding this puts you again in the driver's seat, so you can reframe the responses, so you can process your emotions, set boundaries, and understand what do you need in this moment. And then the bingo game, the bullshit bingo. The real breakthrough happens when you realize your thoughts are creating your emotions. Once you understand this, you can create and challenge your thoughts and keep on to new thoughts here that you want to believe. Shift your emotional responses and start healing your anxious attachment style. And it's all about recognizing that you have the power to control your emotional state. And by changing your trigger and associate it with something fun, you can also rewire this moment and change this association that your brain has built with this trigger. And I really hope you like this episode. To take away, these holidays don't have to be, a time of stress and anxiety the entire time. With boundaries, a little bit of humor sprinkled on top, and a strong exit strategy, you can take control of your emotions, let go, trust the process, and enjoy even the season. So I hope you enjoyed it. I see you next time. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas, by the way. Thank you so much for being with me today. Remember, change in your relationship starts with you. Thought by thought, action by action. Episode by episode. If you loved this episode and want to give me a virtual high five, please give me a 5-star rating wherever you're listening from. It really helps me to boost this podcast a little higher in the rankings, so I can help even more people just like you. And even share it with one more person you think would benefit from this episode. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much and bye-bye.